This episode of Fans Talk Pro Wrestling has been brought to you by the great members of our community, the Squared Circle of Trust. It's your way to directly support us so that we don't have to keep paying for everything out of pocket. If you enjoy our time together every week, you can pledge $1 or more a month on squaredcircleoftrust.com. Now, it's time for Fans Talk Pro Wrestling.
Beard!
Good evening, everybody, or whatever time this show may be finding you. This is Fans Talk Pro Wrestling from the Fans Talk Podcast family at fanstalkpodcast.com, number 308. This is a show where we talk about the week that was in WWE, NXT, TNA, and Lucha Underground. My name is Nick. Garvin is missing in action, but returning for this week and more weeks to come, we have Joe.
Hello, gentlemen, ladies, everybody listening at home, on your iPad, on your iPod, on your Android mobile device. Oh, how are you? We're not selling Bad Dragon dildos on this show, no.
No, absolutely not. I would be a little unnerved if we were.
You know, it may improve our female audience. Or we may alienate them. Oh, you know, I didn't think about that part.
Dildos are for everybody, Joe. All right, so this week in wrestling, Raw happened.
Yep.
I think we can all agree that that was a thing. How great of a thing. I think there is a lot of contention about that. Joe, what do you think of this week's Raw? Anything of interest jump out at you?
First off was the Kevin Owens build-up for WrestleMania. I'm sorry, KO Mania, in which Stephanie promptly corrected him on, which I'm glad they kind of did, just to kind of make sure they show some McMahons are still holding the event. They're not letting that little bit slide. You know, he keeps saying it's KO Mania. I kind of like that aspect. You know, it's still there. It's still their thing. No matter, even if we like you, don't fuck with our name. But with the confrontations that Kevin Owens had early in the show, it was Ziggler, The Miz, and Sami Zayn confronting Kevin Owens to try and get a shot. KO says, "Hey, fine. You guys want to sort it out tonight? I'm going to get the authority to do a triple threat match to determine who's going to be the number one contender for the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania." And then later on in the show proceeds to bring out Stardust, Zack Ryder, and Sin Cara to be the three. The big Donnybrook erupts. We get Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and The Miz coming down. Whole big thing happens. Kevin Owens evacuates, tries to kiss Stephanie's ass. And she says, "Nope, sorry. You're going to face all 6 guys in a ladder match at WrestleMania." So I'm glad they finally threw it out there. We've been waiting and waiting and waiting, and I'm excited. A ladder match at WrestleMania, after the Money in the Bank matches at WrestleMania, I think it's almost a requirement now.
Sure. Especially
when Money in the Bank gets its own pay-per-view. Back when they were always doing it at WrestleMania, it made more sense that there would be, you know, a ladder match or two. Now, I think this is a great move. I think Kevin Owens has a great bit of work to be shown. He's got his rivalry with Sami Zayn. Dolph Ziggler, I mean, Stardust is good in there. The Miz is good in there. Sin Cara is good in there because we'll see a little more lucha type action. The one that stands out to me though through the whole thing is Zack Ryder.
I think Ryder fits better for me than Sin Cara does, because God only knows how many inventive ways he's going to figure out to botch in that match.
It's got to be the name, right, or the mask.
Yeah, that mask is cursed for sure.
But Zack Ryder, I mean, at least Sin Cara's been on TV more recently, on WWE TV more recently, at least on the main roster. I mean, Zack Ryder, it doesn't happen very often. That's my only concern. Mm-hmm. Not that he can't do the work or do it, provide a good showing, but, it's just, there's something off about that to me.
Yeah, I think he's got the name recognition, and since WrestleMania is going to be airing on the network, people that already watch the network are probably already going to be familiar with his recent work in NXT, so I think that balances out.
Okay.
I did enjoy the way Kevin Owens kind of sold us a bill of goods and then quote-unquote under-delivered on his qualifying match. And it was interesting to see that bite him in the ass and have him face all 6 men. The only thing I didn't enjoy was when Stephanie cut the legs out from under him. They were all buddy-buddy beforehand, and there's never been any indication that there was any sort of discord between the Authority and Kevin Owens. This habit that Stephanie has of undercutting the other heels just to make herself look better, like not even more of a heel, but just to try and rob a little momentum of them. Try is not the right word, but that's essentially what's going on here. I didn't appreciate that very much. And I also don't know how much sense it makes to have 7 men in this ladder match when you also have the Battle Royal to fill. I have no idea how that's going to look.
I don't think it's going to be too bad. I mean, there's a lot of guys they can put in that role, and for the Battle Royal, for that payday.
I'm just trying to think of the healthy ones at this point.
Oh, health. Come on, health. Who cares about health? Vince doesn't care about health.
All right, how silly of me.
Yeah, no, but I mean, you've got R-Truth. You've got Ryback, 'cause I don't think Ryback's booked for...
Oh, no, Ryback's facing Kalisto for the title.
Oh, right.
I suppose you've got the Wyatts, because they're not booked for anything right now. Bray might not be an option. We might get into that later, but...
Right.
The other 3, Rowan, Harper, and Strowman, possibly.
You can sprinkle in some NXT guys. Mm-hmm. Tyler Breeze isn't booked.
True. Fandango.
Who else is there? Who else am I missing that popped into my head a second ago and prompted me to have a brain fart?
I don't know if Los Matadores are available, but because I don't remember if there was an injury or not.
Yeah, I mean, I know they've been pulled to so they can be refreshed, or at least that's what they've said in a recent interview.
Yeah.
Let's see, Adam Rose. Well, I mean, we really don't have... Do we have Team 3D in a match?
Team 3D is facing off against the Usos.
Oh, right.
No, yeah, New Day's wrestling League of Nations.
Right. Yeah, I'm just trying to go through the list here. I mean, Cesaro's still out. Damian Sandow.
True.
David Otunga's still on the roster?
Yeah, for some reason. I have no idea why. I doubt he would make an appearance, to be honest.
Mr. Most Days Off, Darren Young. Fandango. Gold Dust. I mean, we already know the Social Outcasts are in it. Swagger.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't know if Mark Henry's going to be healthy.
After Raw, I mean, we know Kane's involved.
Yeah, Kane, Big Show, and the Social Outcasts, they're already announced.
There's always the Ascension.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about them.
Neville's out.
Yep. Okay, so, yeah, I guess you could put together 20 people with a few sprinklings from NXT.
I would love to see Randy Orton in that match.
I suppose.
Just because fuck you, Randy Orton.
Yeah.
So Titus O'Neil will be involved.
He's technically still suspended. They might lift that, just given how ridiculous that whole suspension was.
Yeah, outside of bringing up NXT guys, I think with this, I mean, it's there. I think they're still going to have issues filling it.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting for sure. We had that multi-man match booked. We had some people announce themselves for that Battle Royal. Looking out at what else happened on Raw, Ambrose had another run-in with, I guess, an old-timer, for lack of a better term, in Terry Funk. And Terry Funk bestowed upon him his old chainsaw, which is named, but I don't remember what it's called.
Charlie? Or that was the Carrick Chainsaw Charlie. Early Terry Funk in WWE, I didn't see. I had a big gap in my wrestling.
I remember it was a woman's name because, of course, it was, but I don't remember. But yeah, it is interesting that Ambrose is getting all of this legend support against Lesnar. I kind of dig it. By proxy, they're giving Ambrose a little bit more of an edge, I think, just because Lesnar is so over with the hardcore smarks. And, Ambrose is too as well, to an extent, but, it doesn't hurt to have Foley and Terry give him that little nod. It does make me wonder who else is going to be available with that sort of credibility for next week. I don't know, Tommy Dreamer?
That's a possibility. Rob Van Dam they could probably bring back.
Yeah, potentially. When I think of, hardcore, the way that this match is going to be hardcore, I don't really think of Rob Van Dam. I'd be hard-pressed to think of Tommy Dreamer, to be honest, just because of how acceptable he is in terms of mainstream appeal. I don't know. I don't want to belabor that point too hard, but I'm sure they have somebody in mind.
I'm still trying to find out the name of the damn chainsaw.
Well, while you're looking, there was one other little tidbit from Raw, and that was the kind of dueling interruptions between AJ Styles and Y2 Jackass, which I thought AJ's bit was inspired. I got a kick out of that, but I admit I am biased. But Jericho versus Fandango, they hinted at, this happened at WrestleMania last year?
No, this was 3 years ago, I want to say.
It had to have been WrestleMania 30. I don't understand what the point of that was, just to kind of give us the little flashback. But otherwise, did you think there was any value to that, having Y2J and AJ kind of try and get in each other's heads there?
I think that worked. I think it was a good idea because it gives us something to help. Because we got to remember that the WWE universe doesn't really know AJ Styles. They do have to build up AJ Styles. Jericho has a proven track record. Everybody knows who Jericho is.
Sure.
So with everybody knowing Jericho, you've got to find some way to show that AJ can go toe-to-toe with Jericho, even in the mind games department. And while it wasn't the cleanest thing and, it didn't exactly work as intended, I think it was still a good moment.
Yeah, I don't think this was exactly the best place for AJ to try and exercise his cerebral side, especially when he tried to get the crowd involved in that segment, and it's Philly, so of course they're not going to cooperate.
Oh, it's WrestleMania 29.
Was it? Oh, okay. I didn't think it was that far back.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, AJ Styles and Y2J was a thing. It'll be a thing next week. It'll be a thing at WrestleMania. Hopefully it won't be a thing afterward. But, speaking of WrestleMania, pretty much everything on Raw did happen to build toward WrestleMania. We also got that little stipulation where if Taker loses to Shane, this is going to be Taker's last WrestleMania ever. That was straight from Vince's mouth, which I don't know how I feel about that. I really don't want Taker losing to Shane because why the fuck would he? But I also kind of want the Authority gone, so I'm really torn on that one.
Yeah. I mean, they could double DQ it, but it's Hell in a Cell, so that can't happen.
Yeah, I was wondering how that would work. But let's go ahead and get into WrestleMania 32. We will be previewing this properly next week on Fans Talk Pro Wrestling 309. But let's get into a little bit of the details leading into the granddaddy of them all, and that's the Hall of Fame. Obviously, you got Sting going in, the Freebirds, Godfather, Big Boss Man. As of last week, Jacqueline. As of this week, Stan Hansen's going in. Stan the Lariat Hansen. And Big Van Vader is going to be inducting him. Does that give you any sort of feels at all, Joe?
I'm not informed on the legacy that is Stan Hansen, outside of the stuff that came out of JBL's mouth, which is where kind of the clothesline from hell comes from.
Mm-hmm.
Was an homage. Okay, so obviously I'm not an old school wrestling guy. I watched some in the 80s that was ever on public television, but I don't have the history that a lot of my friends would. I really should correct that, thanks to the WWE Network. It's just finding the time to watch. I know he's a guy who should be in the Hall of Fame. I actually thought he already was when they announced it.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And Vader inducting him, obviously they must have a history, because Hansen was big in Japan.
Yeah, as was Vader. Those two had, from what I understand, a pretty big feud. In storylines, Hansen knocked Vader's eye out of its socket, so he had to wear, I think it was an eye patch for a while. But yeah, Hansen was big in Japan, as was Vader. As I understand it, Hansen's best work was in Japan, so I don't know what sort of content they have on the network as it relates to him. I'd imagine it's just going to be his stuff in the States. Like has been said by many others, this is long overdue, simply given the man's body of work and the importance he placed on bringing North American wrestling wherever he went, like in Japan, elsewhere. I believe he went to Puerto Rico. So yeah, that's going to be pretty cool to see. Also, this weekend, we are going to be seeing Stone Cold, or not this weekend, but WrestleMania weekend, we're going to be seeing Stone Cold interviewing Mick Foley on his podcast. So if you're into that, this is for you.
I thought I might, but then I realized they already interviewed. I think they've already been on each other's podcasts.
Probably. Yeah, I think you're right. Foley was on Stone Cold's podcast before. I forgot Foley even had a podcast, so I couldn't say about vice versa.
Yeah, I had to second guess it when I said it. But yeah, I swear he's been on Stone Cold's podcast before, and I don't exactly know what they'd covered differently.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't really know what the point of Stone Cold's podcast even is anymore, just because he seems to have run out of guests, and these network specials. Ever since the Edge and Christian one, I don't know what the point was, but maybe that's just me.
Yeah, I think Austin on the network has gotten dry, so I have no interest in watching that, none at all.
All right, so Stone Cold podcast, widely panned by this podcast. Looking at the official card, first of all, just to reiterate, Cena will not be competing. Probably will be there, but The Rock will be there. Whether or not he has an in-ring segment like he did last year, who knows?
He has to. Otherwise, there's no point in talking about him.
Yeah, one would think so. Looking at the U.S. title picture, Kalisto has accepted Ryback's challenge. He will be defending his title against the big guy. As of last night, There is going to be an 8-diva tag match. Brie Bella, Alicia Fox, Paige, and Natalya versus Lana, Team Bad, and a partner to be decided this week on Raw. There is the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. As we said before, there are already 6 people announced for it. Big Show, Kane, and the Social Outcasts. There will be a tag team title match, the League of Nations versus the New Day, in a 4-on-3 handicap match. Kevin Owens is defending his IC title in a 7-man ladder match against Sami Zayn, Miz, Dolph Ziggler, Stardust, Zack Ryder, and Sin Cara. The Usos and the Dudleys are facing off in a sort of grudge match from hell sort of scenario. I have no idea if they will attach a stipulation to this. I imagine they would. Jericho versus AJ Styles, another grudge match, hopefully to end it all. Charlotte is defending her Divas Championship against Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks in a triple threat. Shane McMahon and The Undertaker are battling for control of Raw and thus the company. Like I said, if Shane wins, he takes over control of Raw. If Taker loses, he is gone from WrestleMania forever. There are 2 more quote-unquote main events. Brock Lesnar versus Dean Ambrose in a no-holds-barred street fight. And Triple H is defending the World Heavyweight Championship against Roman Reigns. Right off the bat, like I said, we will be previewing all of that next week. But right off the bat, does anything stand out to you, Joe?
The 2 matches I think I'm most excited for are the Kevin Owens ladder match, the IC title ladder match, and the Divas Championship. Runners up to that would be Jericho, AJ Styles, and Shane McMahon versus Undertaker. Mostly because I want to see Shane in the ring again, and I want to see how the hell they're going to work themselves out of the story. Because they've really backed themselves into a corner on this one.
There is a little bit of a morbid curiosity value to that match. I freely admit that. I'm not excited for it, but it's a little bit like NASCAR. I kind of want to watch for the inevitable car crash that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Lesnar versus Ambrose. I've been saying it week in and week out. I'm excited as all hell for this match, just to see how far they will go. Also, Usos versus Dudleys for a little bit of that same reason. Those 2 teams have brought something out of each other that I haven't seen out of either team in a little while. Especially out of, not Bully Ray, Bubba Ray. I haven't seen anything like that since his time as Bully Ray, so this should be very interesting. The Usos finally have something resembling of an edge as well. League of Nations versus New Day. I didn't think you could make me care about the League of Nations, and I kind of still don't as a unit, but as they relate to New Day, it's been fairly interesting going back and forth between those 2 teams. Yeah, I guess we're going to see what happens there, but should be a hell of a match.
I just want to know if I can actually buy a box of Booty-O's. I know they sell a box of Booty-O's that has a t-shirt inside. I don't want the t-shirt. I just want the Booty-O's.
Yeah, I don't know if they ever will make a cereal product. I kind of hope they do, and I kind of hope they don't. Because I would be concerned about FDA standards.
Oh, it'd be just like, them doing the ice cream bars. It's not a big deal.
They didn't do the ice cream bars. CM Punk, he welched on that promise.
I ate a lot of those ice cream bars as a kid, is what I'm saying.
Well, you turned out all right.
You think?
All right. So, we talked WrestleMania. We talked Raw. Anything else going on in the realm of WWE that we should talk about?
I think Big Show's talking about his threat to be the 2-time Andre the Giant Battle Royal winner. I enjoyed his speech. To really hype up the history of Andre the Giant and what it means to be a big guy, a big man in the business.
Yeah, that wasn't bad at all.
I think that was a bit refreshing. So Big Show's apparently a face again.
Yeah, as we found out on his episode with Steve Austin, he fits the role that the company needs him in. To be fair, he is pretty decent at it.
Yep, nope, I enjoy it, and keep it up, man. Keep it up, Big Show. When he's just himself, he's a much better character to watch.
Mm-hmm. No arguments there. While we are talking about WrestleMania weekend, NXT TakeOver Dallas is happening on the Friday before. And we won't necessarily get into NXT as it happened this week, but they did add another match to the card. NXT Tag Team Championships. American Alpha won their number 1 contendership match. They will be facing the Revival. Also happening at TakeOver Dallas, Austin Aries versus Baron Corbin. Shinsuke Nakamura versus Sami Zayn. It'll be Nakamura's debut match for the WWE. For the NXT Women's Championship, we've got Bayley versus Asuka. And for the NXT Championship, Finn Balor versus Samoa Joe. Out of those 5 matches, first of all, do you think they'll add any more?
We might get one more. If anything, I would either involve Enzo and Cass or the Vaudevillains. I think it's going to be a tag team match.
You thinking like number one contendership or just kind of like an
Possibly.
exhibition deal?
It could be either. I think it would go either way. I don't think NXT's in a hurry to name a new number one contender.
Sure.
I mean, that could be done in a subsequent show because doing it kind of would shed some light on who's going to win, and I don't think they want to do that.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm wondering if they would want to put Apollo Crews in a scenario here, just because he has kind of been angling his way back into that picture. My only question will be against who, and I have no clue. But yeah, outside of that potential Apollo Crews match, I don't really know where we would make an addition. Aside from that other tag team match you mentioned, which is, I would take that in a heartbeat.
Yeah. I mean, and I just picked two teams essentially at random. I think one of those two teams is going to be involved, if not both. So
yeah, probably. Out of the 5 matches we do have, though, which one are you looking forward to the most?
I'm going to say Bayley versus Asuka, with Finn Balor versus Joe as a fantastic runner-up. Just because Bayley's been doing some great work, props to her, but Asuka, I can't wait for these two to get in the ring and have a go at it. I think the Clash of Styles is going to be good. Asuka's a very interesting character, and she's fantastic in the ring. So I'm looking forward to the mix-up there.
Overlooking the fact that the Clash of Styles will be taking place at Mania and not TakeOver Dallas, I'm completely with you. That should be a great match. Both of those that you mentioned. I'm with you. I'm looking forward to Bayley versus Asuka more than the NXT Championship match. To be honest, I'm a lot more excited about Nakamura versus Zayn. I am very interested to see how Nakamura is going to be meshing his style in with the WWE product. I've seen transcripts of a couple of his interviews with Tokyo Sports Magazine, other Japanese publications that he had interviews with before he came over to the Performance Center. And he talked about how his style was mostly going to be the same. Like, he would be allowed to keep almost all of his signature maneuvers, like the Bomaye running knee, the cross arm breaker that he has. It's my understanding that he's not going to be changing up a whole lot. But, you know, you kind of have to wonder whether the WWE is going to be so hot on him keeping the Bomaye as his finisher, considering that Daniel Bryan had the running knee. And they're two pretty different moves when you compare them side by side, but, you know, they wouldn't let Itami use to go to sleep, even after CM Punk was gone. So, you know, there's little considerations there that I'd like to see how that pans out. And also, Nakamura versus Zayn, you know, again, like you mentioned before, a very interesting contrast of styles there, and both phenomenal workers to boot.
On the Nakamura finisher thing, the running knee, I don't think that's going to be a problem. Although, wasn't Hideo Itami using that as well?
He hasn't used that in the WWE.
I could have sworn he had.
That's where Daniel Bryan took the move from. Daniel Bryan's running knee was the exact same running knee that Itami used on over in Japan. Itami may have used it once or twice when he debuted. I don't remember that being in his arsenal all that much. Definitely not as a finisher.
Okay. But I don't think it's a problem because Daniel Bryan's no longer in the ring.
Sure.
And they won't be letting him come back. I don't think that's a problem.
Yeah, hopefully not. So that was our little minute recap of TakeOver Dallas. There are a few other bits of wrestling news. One, Sting retired. Not a whole lot to be said about that. I believe I remember reading where he said that it wasn't injury related. Just sort of a, you know, my time has passed sort of thing. I do wonder how much truth there is in that statement, but that's just me.
No, I'm with you. Although I thought, I mean, it's been about time for him to retire anyway. Especially after that last stint in which he was injured and did not, you know, that was a long recovery. I think it's just time. He's made his money. He's going into the Hall of Fame. Yeah, there's nothing left for him to accomplish unless he would want a WWE championship. But I think that's a long road ahead of him if he were to try.
Yeah, it's just such a shame that the only thing he did in WWE was to lose Triple H for absolutely no reason.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a match that shouldn't have happened anyway, so.
Yeah. Moving on, we had a little bit of a development as far as concussion research goes. Mick Foley, Kevin Nash, both of the Hardy brothers, and RVD they've all announced that they'll be donating their brains post-mortem to concussion research through Chris Nowinski's Concussion Legacy Foundation. Pretty cool move on their parts. Noble gesture for sure. I'm sure that people are going to be learning from those particular brains for years to come.
Yeah, definitely. And not for their knowledge. It's a jab saying wrestlers are stupid.
Well, I mean, Foley's in particular, that's got to be like what happens after a car crash. I mean, just given all the shit that he's been through.
Yeah, and he has been through a lot.
Yeah, Nash. I think that would be more of a drug study than a concussion study, and you could kind of say the same about the Hardys and RVD, but it's going to be interesting to see how that helps things moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, concussions are a huge problem in pro wrestling.
Yeah, we still don't know that much about them either.
Yeah, well, we don't really know much about the human brain.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully the research aids.
Absolutely. Another bit of anatomy that we do know a little bit more about are back injuries, which the Wrestling Observer is reporting that is the reason why Bray didn't face Lesnar at Roadblock. Apparently, Bray is injured, and it's also being suggested that he might miss in-ring action at Mania because of that, which, that sucks.
That totally sucks.
Another possible explanation of why we're not getting Bray versus Lesnar there, why we're still getting Ambrose in that picture. But, these things happen.
They do. Wish you the best of health, Bray Wyatt, to get back on your feet and into the ring. But totally understand back injuries can be a difficult thing.
I will do my best. Yeah, I guess that brings us to win and fail.
Women wrestlers aren't getting paid? Why do you do a job?
Here is your win.
You do any job,
and fail
is to fucking get paid!
Of the week.
Joe, what is your win of the week?
My win of the week is probably going to just be once again, the Intercontinental Championship build-up for WrestleMania. I'm excited. I'm totally excited for that. I always love a more mid-card match. And there's a number of guys in there who can really swing for the fences. Owen, Zayn, Ziggler, just to name three. Even Stardust, or Cody Rhodes, whatever you want to call him.
Cody Rhodes is dead.
Until you listen to Chris Jericho's podcast, in which he had Xavier Woods and Cody Rhodes talking about their high school rivalry.
Oh, that was from way back.
That just aired.
Yeah, but the conversation itself happened before Cody Rhodes died and Stardust was born.
I thought the conversation was recent. Okay.
Kayfabe.
Yeah, fuck kayfabe.
Looking at the live chat here, we have wins for the Road to WrestleMania and Lucha Underground, as well as Dolph name-dropping Botchamania. My win came from TNA personally. Drew Galloway's champ. I think this should have happened last year, but it's long overdue, well-deserved. Absolutely looking forward to seeing what comes next. Also, Grado was reinstated with a contract, and all is right with the world once more.
Woot.
Fails. Joe, what is your fail?
My fail is the Big Show Social Outcast Kane segment on Raw. Well, I know they're trying to set up the Battle Royal that is probably not going to be televised. At least it's hard for me to say that now. It will not be on the main card.
I think they said the Battle Royal is going to be aired on USA. Something's going to be aired on USA. I don't remember if that's it.
Either way, I don't think it's going to be on the main card. It's not going to be in the official WrestleMania card. I think it's going to be the warm-up, the pre-show. And I know they're trying to build it up to get people to watch it. But to me, Kane and Big Show would be the only compelling members out of that entire segment. I don't think the Social Outcasts are compelling enough to watch it.
I think it is time to move on from that ridiculousy. That's the only thing holding them back, in my opinion.
Hashtag getting really fucking old, guys.
All right, fails from the live chat. JBL being so horrible that even when he mentions great match between Styles and Owens, the knee-jerk reaction is, shut up, JBL. I completely agree. Also fail of the week, more keeping kayfabe alive. Drew Galloway stole the TNA World Heavyweight Championship from Matt Hardy, and Grado was reinstated. And EC3's streak is still protected, even though it's kind of not. And Roman Reigns continuing to attack and verbally assault the Authority. My fail, I'm hard-pressed to think of an actual fail. The only thing I can really think of that I didn't particularly enjoy this week was from Lucha Underground, and that's Phoenix becoming the new Lucha Underground champion. It makes sense from a storyline perspective, absolutely. I can't even say that Phoenix doesn't deserve it with the work he's put in. It's just me personally, I'm not that big of a Phoenix fan. His matches just, I don't know, for whatever reason, I haven't enjoyed them as much as a lot of other people have. So that's about as far towards a fail as I'm going to go. But that brings us to a close. So you can find more about us and what we do at fanstalkprowrestling.com. This series of Fans Talk Pro Wrestling, as well as the rest of the podcast released through fanstalkpodcast.com, are supported exclusively by our Squared Circle of Trust, our Patreon subscribers. If you like what we do, you can subscribe today for as little as $1 a month and receive early access to all of our content, as well as to get your ears and eyes on some exclusive content. So, for Joe and those that are with us in the live chat, this is Nick, and we will see you guys next week. Goodbye.
Peace in the Middle East.